Jake Morrison walked through the dirty streets of HFY Station. The air smelled bad, very bad. It was hot and sticky, and sweat ran down his face. He did not want to be here, but he had no choice. His ship needed fuel cells. Special fuel cells that only this place sold. HFY Station was not a good place. It was far from any law or police. Bad people came here to do bad things. Jake was a trader. He flew his ship from planet to planet, buying and selling things. It was not easy work, but it was honest work. Most of the time. The station was big and dark. Lights flickered on and off. Water dripped from broken pipes. Strange aliens walked past him. Some had 4 arms. Some had scales. Some had too many eyes. Jake kept his head down and walked fast. He needed to find the fuel dealer. The man who sold the special cells lived deep in the station. Jake had to walk through the worst parts to get there. That was when he saw the slave market. Jake stopped, walking. He had heard about places like this, but he had never seen one. Cages lined both sides of a long street. In the cages were people. Not human people, but people all the same. Different kinds of aliens sat or lay in the metal boxes. Some cages had big, strong aliens with thick skin. Others had small, quick ones with bright colors. All of them looked sad. All of them looked broken. Jake felt sick in his stomach. He wanted to turn around and leave, but he needed those fuel cells. His crew was waiting for him. If he did not get the fuel, they would be stuck here forever. He walked forward, trying not to look at the cages. But it was hard. The aliens in the cages looked at him with hopeful eyes. Some reached through the bars. Others just stared. Alien traders stood next to the cages. They shouted prices and descriptions. "Strong worker," one yelled. "Very smart," shouted another. They talked about the people in the cages like they were things to buy and sell. Jake walked faster. He almost made it past the market. Then he heard a sound that made him stop. It was a cry of pain, not loud but full of hurt. Jake turned to look. In the last row of cages in the darkest corner, he saw her. She was not human, but she looked almost human in some ways. Her skin was different, though. It looked like it was made of crystal or glass, but the crystal was cracked and dirty. Her hair was long and white, but it was full of dirt. She sat on the floor of her cage. Her hands and feet had chains on them. The chains were connected to the back wall of the cage. Next to her cage stood one of the ugliest aliens Jake had ever seen. It was tall and had 4 arms. Its skin was green and covered in bumps. Its mouth had too many teeth. The ugly alien kicked the cage. The crystal-skinned woman jumped and moved back. She was holding something small in her arms. Jake could not see what it was. "Move faster," the ugly alien yelled at her. "Stupid slave, you are too slow." The woman did not say anything. She just held the small thing closer to her chest. The ugly alien opened the cage door. It reached in with one of its 4 arms and grabbed the woman by her hair. She cried out, but she did not let go of the small thing she was holding. "Let go. That stupid pet," the alien yelled. It hit her across the face with another arm. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. He had seen many bad things in space, pirates, cheats, and worse. But this was different. This was pure cruelty. The woman fell to the floor of the cage, but she still protected the small creature. Jake could see it now. It was about the size of a cat, but it had tiny wings and fur that changed colors. It was hurt. One of its wings was bent wrong. The ugly alien raised its foot to kick the woman again. That was when Jake moved. "Hey!" he called out. "Is she for sale?" The ugly alien turned around. When it saw Jake, it smiled with all those teeth. "Ah, a human. Yes, she is for sale. You have good taste." Jake walked closer. Up close, the woman was even more hurt than he thought. Her crystal skin had many cracks. Some of them were bleeding a clear blue liquid. Her clothes were torn and dirty. But her eyes still had life in them. "What can she do?" Jake asked, trying to sound like he did not care. "She used to be telepathic," the alien said. "Her people can read minds and send thoughts, but this one is broken. The collar stopped her powers. Now she is just good for heavy work. Jake looked at the metal collar around her neck. It had small lights on it that blinked red. How much? He asked. The alien's eyes got bright. For you, human friend, only 50,000 credits. Jake almost choked. That was all the money he had made from his last 3 trips. His crew would think he was crazy. He needed that money to fix his ship. But he looked at the woman again. She was looking at him now, not with hope, but with the look of someone who expected more pain. She thought he was just another person who would hurt her. The small creature in her arms made a soft sound. It was scared too. Jake made his choice. I will give you 30,000, he said. The alien laughed. No, she is worth much more. Look at her. Strong back, good hands. She is damaged, Jake said, pointing at her cracked skin. And she cannot use her mind powers. 30,000. They argued for 10 minutes. Finally, the alien agreed to 40,000 credits. Jake's heart hurt as he transferred the money from his account. This would cause big problems later. But when the alien removed the collar from the woman's neck, Jake knew he had done the right thing. She fell to the ground immediately. Her body shook. The small creature crawled up to her face and made worried sounds. She is yours now, human, the alien said. Good luck with her. She does not talk much anymore. Jake knelt down next to the woman. She flinched away from him. It is okay, he said softly. I am not going to hurt you. What is your name? She looked at him with wide eyes. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Then, in a voice so quiet he almost missed it, she whispered, Zara. Hello, Zara, Jake said. My name is Jake. You are safe now. She did not believe him. He could see it in her eyes. She had been hurt too many times to trust anyone. Jake's communicator beeped. It was Pete, his first mate. Captain, where are you? We have been waiting for 2 hours. Jake looked at Zara and the small creature. They both needed medical help, right? Away. Pete, he said into the communicator. Get Lisa to prepare the medical bay. We are bringing someone home. Jake helped Zara stand up. She was very weak. Her legs shook like a baby learning to walk. The small creature stayed close to her, making soft, worried sounds. Can you walk? Jake asked gently. Zara nodded, but when she tried to take a step, she almost fell. Jake caught her arm to steady her. She pulled away quickly, fear in her eyes. Sorry, Jake said. I will not touch you unless you say it is okay. This seemed to surprise her. She looked at him with confusion, like she could not understand why he would ask permission. Jake's communicator beeped again. Pete's voice came through, sounding worried. Captain, what is taking so long? The fuel dealer is getting impatient. Tell him I will be there soon, Jake replied. And Pete, prepare. A guest room, too. There was silence on the other end. Then Pete said, A guest room? Captain, what did you do? I will explain later, Jake said. The walk to Jake's ship took a long time. Zara moved very slowly. Every few steps, she had to stop and rest. The small creature rode on her shoulder, its little head turning to watch for danger. People stared as they walked. Some laughed and pointed. Others looked away quickly. Jake felt angry at all of them. When they reached the Star Runner, Pete was waiting at the cargo door. He was a big man, with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been Jake's friend for 10 years. But when he saw Zara, his mouth fell open. Jake, he said slowly, please tell me you did not just buy a slave. I bought her freedom, Jake said. There is a difference. Pete looked at Zara. She was standing behind Jake now, using him like a shield. The small creature was hiding in her hair. She needs medical help, Jake said. Get Lisa down here now. Pete pressed a button on his communicator. Lisa, medical emergency in the cargo bay. Lisa Carter arrived 2 minutes later. She was the ship's doctor and the smartest person Jake knew. She was also very kind. When she saw Zara, her face went soft with concern. Oh, honey, Lisa said quietly. What did they do to you? Lisa moved slowly toward Zara. I am a doctor, she said. I want to help you feel better, is that okay? Zara looked at Jake. He nodded. Lisa is good people, he said. She helps everyone. Very carefully, Lisa examined Zara's injuries. The crystal skin was badly cracked in many places. Some cracks were deep and still bleeding the blue liquid. This is not just from being hit, Lisa said to Jake. This is from the neural suppression collar. It was damaging her brain. Jake felt sick. Will she be okay? I do not know yet, Lisa said honestly. Her people heal differently than humans. I need to do more tests. The small creature on Zara's shoulder made a sound. Lisa noticed it for the first time. What is this little one? She asked. It is hurt too, Zara said. These were the first words she had spoken since telling Jake her name. Lisa looked at the creature's bent wing. I can fix this, she said. But I need to take both of you to the medical bay. Zara hesitated. She looked around at the humans surrounding her. They were all strangers. She had learned not to trust strangers. You can bring your friend, Jake said, pointing to the small creature. And if you want to leave at any time, just say so. This is your choice. The word choice seemed to surprise Zara more than anything else. She stared at Jake like he had said something impossible. My choice? She whispered. Yes, Jake said. Everything is your choice now. No one will force you to do anything. Tears started to fall from Zara's eyes. But they were not normal tears. They were small, bright crystals that made tiny ringing sounds when they hit the floor. Pete bent down and picked up one of the crystal tears. It was beautiful, like a tiny diamond. I have never seen anything like this, he said softly. It means she is feeling strong emotion, Lisa explained. Some alien species cry differently than humans. More crew members started to arrive. Tony Rodriguez, the ship's engineer, came up from the engine room. Amy Foster, who handled communications, came down from the bridge. They all stared at Zara. Captain, Tony said. What is going on? Why is there a slave on our ship? She is not a slave, Jake said firmly. She is a guest, and anyone who has a problem with that can find another ship. Tony looked angry. A guest? Do you know how much money we lost today? We needed that money for engine repairs. The engines will wait, Jake said. And what if she is dangerous? Amy asked. What if this is some kind of trick? Jake looked at Zara. She was holding the small creature close to her chest, trying to make herself as small as possible. She looked like she wanted to disappear. Does she look dangerous to you? Jake asked. Amy looked ashamed. No, but, Jake said. We are taking her to the medical bay. End of discussion. Lisa led Zara away. Jake watched them go, hoping he had made the right choice. Pete put a hand on Jake's shoulder. You know this is going to cause problems, right? We barely have enough food for ourselves, and Tony is right about the money. I know, Jake said, but I could not leave her there. Why? Pete asked. You have seen slaves before. You always said it was not our business. Jake thought about this. I saw how she protected that little creature. Even when she was being hurt, she put its safety first. That tells me everything I need to know about who she is. In the medical bay, Lisa was working on both patients. She had put the small creature in a special healing chamber for its wing. Zara sat on the medical bed, watching the creature with worried eyes. What is your friend's name? Lisa asked while she cleaned Zara's wounds. Him, Zara said quietly. That is a beautiful name, Lisa said. How long have you been together? 5 years, Zara said. We were studying together when the slavers came. Studying what? Music frequencies that help healing, Zara said. Him and my people work together. We make songs that heal minds and bodies. Lisa stopped working. You are scientists? Zara nodded. I was. Before. What happened to your research? Zara's crystal tears started falling again. Gone. All gone. The slavers destroyed everything. They said knowledge was dangerous. Lisa felt angry. These people had not just taken Zara's freedom. They had taken her life's work too. Well, Lisa said, maybe we can help you start again. Zara looked at her with surprise. Why would you do that? Because that is what good people do, Lisa said. They help each other. Later that night, Jake sat in his captain's chair on the bridge. The ship was in space now, traveling to their next destination, but his mind was not on business. Pete came up to him. Lisa says Zara will be okay, but it will take time. The neural damage is serious. What about him? Wing is healing well, should be flying again in a few days. Jake nodded. Good. Pete sat down next to him. Jake, I have known you for 10 years. You are not the type to make quick decisions. So, why did you really buy her? Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he said, when I was a kid, I had a dog named Buddy. One day I saw some older kids throwing rocks at him. They were hurting him just because they could. What did you do? I stopped them, got beat up pretty bad for it. But I could not just watch, Pete understood. And today you could not just watch. Right, Jake said. Some things are more important than money. In the medical bay, Zara was lying on the bed watching him sleep in the healing chamber. The little creature's wing was already looking better. Lisa came to check on them. How are you feeling? Confused, Zara said honestly. About what? The human Jake. He spent all his money to buy me. But he asks for nothing in return. I do not understand. Lisa smiled. That is just how Jake is. He sees someone who needs help, and he helps them. But why? I am nothing to him. Just a broken slave. You are not broken, Lisa said firmly, and you are definitely not nothing. You are a person with value and dignity. Zara started crying crystal tears again. I had forgotten that, she whispered. Lisa sat down next to the bed. It will take time to remember who you were before all this happened, but we will help you. That is a promise. For the first time in 3 years, Zara felt something she had not felt since the slavers took her. She felt hope. 3 days passed on the Star Runner. Zara stayed in the medical bay most of the time. Lisa checked on her every few hours, bringing food and medicine, but Zara barely ate anything. She is afraid of the food, Lisa told Jake. I think they used to put drugs in her meals. Jake felt angry again. What kind of drugs? Probably something to keep her weak and obedient, Lisa said. It will take time for her to trust that our food is safe. Jake nodded. What about her injuries? Her skin is healing, but slowly. The real problem is inside her head. The neural collar damaged the part of her brain that connects to her telepathic abilities. Will they come back? Lisa shook her head. I do not know. I am not familiar with her species biology, but even if they do come back, the psychological damage might prevent her from using them. Jake visited Zara every day. He would sit in a chair across the room and talk to her. He told her about the places they were going and the stars they were passing. Zara never answered, but she listened. Him was getting better quickly. The little creature could fly short distances now. It stayed close to Zara, making soft musical sounds that seemed to calm her. On the 4th day, things got worse. Tony cornered Jake in the hallway. Captain, we need to talk. What is it, Tony? The crew is getting restless. We are losing money every day by not taking cargo jobs, and we are running low on supplies. We will take the next job we find, Jake said. That is not the point, Tony said. The point is we have a useless passenger eating our food and taking up space. Jake's eyes went cold. She is not useless. What can she do? She cannot work. She cannot even talk most of the time. She just sits there. She is recovering from trauma, Jake said. That takes time. Time we do not have, Tony shot back. Look, I get it. You felt sorry for her, but charity is a luxury we cannot afford. Other crew members had gathered to listen. Jake could see that some of them agreed with Tony. Amy stepped forward. Maybe we could drop her off at the next civilized planet. Find her a nice refugee center? She stays, Jake said firmly. Why? Tony demanded. Give me one good reason why we should keep her. Jake thought about this. The truth was, he did not have a logical reason. He just knew it was the right thing to do. Because she has nowhere else to go, he said finally. Tony threw up his hands. That is not a reason. That is just emotion. Sometimes emotion is reason enough, Pete said, stepping up beside Jake. Tony looked around at the other crew members. Are you all crazy? We are risking our livelihood for a stranger. We are helping someone who needs help, Lisa said, joining Pete and Jake. That is what decent people do. Amy looked uncomfortable. She wanted to support Jake, but she was worried about their future. What if we put it to a vote? She suggested. No vote, Jake said. This is my ship. My decision. Tony's face went red. Fine, but when we are all broke and stranded, do not say I did not warn you. He stormed off. Amy followed him, looking uncertain. Jake felt the crew splitting apart. But he could not change his mind. Not when he thought about Zara sitting alone in the medical bay, afraid to even eat. That evening, Jake was in his cabin when his door chimed. Come in, he called. To his surprise, it was Zara. She stood in the doorway, holding him in her arms. She looked terrified but determined. I heard the shouting, she said quietly. Jake felt embarrassed. I'm sorry about that. The crew is just worried about money. They want me to leave, Zara said. It was not a question. Jake did not want to lie to her. Some of them do. Zara nodded like she had expected this. I will go. At the next station. No, Jake said quickly. You do not have to go anywhere. Yes, I do, Zara said. I am causing problems for you. You have been kind to me, but I cannot repay that kindness by destroying your crew. Jake stood up. Zara, listen to me. You are not destroying anything. You are part of this crew now. She shook her head. I am broken. I cannot work. I cannot help. I am just nothing. Him made a sad sound and nuzzled against Zara's cheek. You are not nothing, Jake said. You are a scientist. You had a life and a purpose before all this happened. That life is gone, Zara said. The slavers made sure of that. Jake walked closer to her. She did not flinch away this time. Then we will help you build a new life, he said. Why? Zara asked. Why do you care so much about a stranger? Jake thought about his answer carefully. My grandmother used to tell me something. She said that we are all connected like links in a chain. When one link breaks, the whole chain gets weaker. But when we help fix a broken link, the chain becomes stronger than ever. Zara looked confused. I do not understand. When someone helps you, it makes you want to help someone else. That kindness spreads from person to person, making the whole galaxy a little bit better. Zara was quiet for a long time. Him sang a soft, sad song. The slavers told me that kindness was weakness, she said finally. The slavers were wrong about a lot of things, Jake said. The next day, something changed. Zara came to the dining room for breakfast. She had never done this before. Usually, Lisa brought food to the medical bay. The crew was already eating when she arrived. The room went quiet. Zara stood in the doorway, clutching him, looking like she wanted to run away. Jake stood up. Zara, come sit with us. Slowly, carefully, Zara walked to the table. Jake pulled out a chair for her. She sat down, but she kept her eyes on the table. Lisa brought her a plate of food. Zara stared at it for a long time before taking a small bite. It is good, she said quietly. Pete smiled. Lisa is the best cook in this sector of space. I am still learning human foods, Lisa said. Maybe you could teach me about Velthari cooking sometime. Zara looked up in surprise. You would want to learn? Of course, Lisa said. I love learning about different cultures. Amy, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What was your home planet like? Zara hesitated. Then very slowly she began to talk. Velthara Prime was beautiful. We built our cities to match the natural music of the planet. Every building was designed to create harmony with the wind and water. That sounds amazing, Amy said. My people believe that music and healing are connected, Zara continued. We spend our whole lives learning to create songs that can heal bodies and minds. Is that what you were studying with him? Pete asked. Zara nodded. We were trying to understand how different frequencies could heal trauma, emotional wounds that normal medicine cannot fix. Jake listened carefully. This was the most Zara had spoken since coming aboard. That sounds like very important work, he said. It was, Zara said sadly. But it is lost now. The research station was destroyed. All the data, all the discoveries, gone. Maybe not all of it, Lisa said gently. You still remember some of it, right? And him is still alive. Zara looked at the little creature on her shoulder. Him chirped softly. I remember some things, she admitted. But without the proper equipment, without my telepathic connection to him, I cannot do the work. What if your telepathic abilities come back? Amy asked. Zara shook her head. The neural collar damaged too much. Lisa examined the scans. The connections in my brain are broken. Brains can heal, Lisa said. It might take time, but damage is not always permanent. For the first time since Jake had met her, Zara smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Maybe, she said quietly. Tony, who had been eating in silence, suddenly stood up. This is all very touching, but it does not change our situation. We still need money to keep this ship running. The good mood in the room disappeared. Zara's smile faded. Tony, Jake warned. No, Captain, someone has to say it. We are a business, not a charity. If she wants to stay, she needs to contribute somehow. Zara stood up quickly. He is right. I should go. Sit down, Jake said firmly. Both of you. Zara sat down, but she looked ready to run. Jake looked around the table at his crew. Tony is right about one thing, we do need money. But we also need to be the kind of people we can live with being. He turned to look at Zara. You want to contribute? Fine. Tell us about your research. Maybe there is a way to continue it. Zara looked surprised. I cannot do the research without my abilities. Maybe you cannot do it the same way you used to, Jake said. But that does not mean you cannot do it at all. Him started singing a soft, hopeful melody. Zara listened to it, and for just a moment, her eyes closed, like she was remembering something beautiful. I would need equipment, she said slowly. Computers, sensors, recording devices. We have some of that stuff, Pete said. Basic models, but it might be enough to start. Zara looked around the table at the humans. They were all looking at her with interest and encouragement. Even Tony seemed curious now. You would really help me rebuild my research? She asked. Of course, Jake said. That is what crews do. We help each other achieve our dreams. Zara started crying crystal tears again. But this time they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of hope. I had forgotten I still had dreams, she whispered. That night, Zara did not go back to the medical bay. She went to the small guest room Jake had prepared for her. It was the first time in 3 years that she had slept in a real bed instead of a cage. As she lay down, him curled up next to her pillow and sang a soft lullaby. For the first time since the slavers took her, Zara felt safe. In his cabin, Jake smiled as he heard the faint sound of Him's song through the ship's walls. It was working. Slowly, carefully, Zara was starting to heal. The chain was getting stronger. 2 weeks passed on the Star Runner. Zara was getting stronger every day. Her crystal skin was healing, showing patches of bright blue color. She ate meals with the crew now and even helped Lisa in the medical bay. Jake had set up a small research area for her in one of the cargo holds. It was not much, just some basic computers and recording equipment. But Zara worked there for hours every day. She was trying to recreate her lost research from memory. Without her telepathic connection to him, it was very difficult. She could not hear the healing songs the way she used to, but she did not give up. Tell me about the frequencies again, she said to him one morning. The little creature was perched on her shoulder, its wing completely healed now. Him chirped and sang a complex melody. Zara listened carefully and typed notes into the computer. She had to guess at what the sounds meant, but she was slowly building a database of healing songs. Pete often stopped by to watch her work. "I do not understand any of this," he admitted, "but it sounds beautiful." "Each song is designed to help with different problems," Zara explained. "This one helps with fear. This one helps broken bones heal faster. This one calms angry thoughts." "How do you know which song to use?" "That is the hard part," Zara said. "My people can sense what kind of healing someone needs. We feel their emotions through telepathy, but I cannot do that anymore." Pete frowned. "Maybe there is another way. What if you could learn to read body language and facial expressions instead?" Zara looked thoughtful. "That is actually not a bad idea. Humans are very expressive with their faces and bodies. We could teach you," Pete offered. "Each of us could show you what different emotions look like." For the first time in weeks, Zara looked excited. Yes, that could work. From that day on, the crew helped Zara learn to read human emotions without telepathy. Lisa showed her what pain looked like in someone's face. Pete demonstrated different types of fear. Amy taught her to recognize sadness and anger. Jake was amazed at how quickly Zara learned. Within days, she could tell what mood each crew member was in just by looking at them. "You are worried about money again," she said to Jake one evening. Jake was surprised. "How can you tell?" "Your eyebrows are closer together and you keep touching your pocket where you keep your credit chip," Zara said. "Also, you have been eating less at meals." Jake smiled. "You are getting very good at this." "I had to learn to read emotions to survive as a slave," Zara said sadly. "I just forgot that I could use those skills for healing instead of hiding." One day, while Jake was on the bridge, his communicator started beeping urgently. It was an emergency signal. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Star Runner," he said into the radio. "Who needs help?" A woman's voice came through, full of panic. "This is the transport ship New Hope. Our life support is failing. We have 30 families on board, including children. Please help us." Jake did not hesitate. "We are coming. Send us your location." Pete looked worried. "Captain, we are not a rescue ship. We do not have supplies for 30 families." "We will figure it out," Jake said. "Plot a course for their location. Maximum speed." Amy started sending messages to other ships in the area, asking for help. Lisa began preparing the medical bay for possible injuries. When Zara heard about the emergency, she came to the bridge. "What can I do to help?" "I do not know," Jake admitted. "We are going to try to repair their life support, but with 30 Wambeb families." "Children?" Zara asked. Yes, the message said there are children on board. Something changed in Zara's expression. Her crystal skin began to glow with a soft light. "I want to help," she said firmly. "Zara, you do not understand. This is dangerous. Their ship might explode or we might not be able to save everyone." "I understand," Zara said. "But those children are scared. I know what it feels like to be scared and helpless. If there is anything I can do." Jake looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay, but you stay close to me at all times." When they reached the New Hope, the situation was worse than expected. The ship was falling apart. Smoke was coming from broken pipes and the air was thin and hard to breathe. Jake's crew worked quickly to fix the life support systems. But the families on board were panicking. Children were crying, and parents were shouting in fear. That was when Zara stepped forward. She had brought him with her. The little creature was sitting on her shoulder, looking around at all the frightened people. "Him," Zara said quietly. "Can you sing the calming song?" Him looked at her with confusion. Without their telepathic connection, how could they work together? But Zara had an idea. She began to hum along with Him's song. She could not hear it in her mind anymore, but she could hear it with her ears, and she remembered enough to harmonize with it. The effect was immediate. The crying children began to quiet down. The panicking adults stopped shouting and listened. A sense of peace spread through the damaged ship. "How is she doing that?" asked one of the parents. "Music therapy," Lisa said with amazement. She is using sound frequencies to calm everyone down. Jake watched in wonder as Zara moved through the ship, singing softly to different groups of people. She sang different songs for different needs, one for the scared children, another for the injured passengers, a third for the exhausted crew, and somehow, impossibly, it was working. A little girl who had been crying uncontrollably fell asleep in her mother's arms. An old man with a broken arm said his pain was getting better. The ship's captain, who had been too stressed to think clearly, suddenly figured out how to reroute power to the backup life support. "I do not understand," Pete whispered to Jake. "I thought she could not use her healing abilities anymore." "Maybe. She found a new way," Jake said. "It took 6 hours to fully repair the New Hope." During that entire time, Zara sang. Her voice grew hoarse and she was exhausted. But she did not stop. Every time someone started to panic or cry out in pain, she was there with a song to help them. When the work was finally done, the captain of the New Hope came to thank Jake's crew. "I do not know how to repay you," he said. "You saved 30 families today." "No payment needed," Jake said. "Just pass it on. Help someone else when you get the chance." The captain turned to Zara. "And you, young lady, what you did? I have never seen anything like it. Are you some kind of healer?" Zara smiled tiredly. "I am learning to be." After the New Hope left, Jake found Zara sitting alone in her research area. She was staring at her computer screen, but she was not typing anything. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I felt it," she said quietly. "Felt what?" "The connection. For just a moment when I was singing to that little girl, I felt him's thoughts in my mind." Jake's eyes widened. "Your telepathy is coming back?" "I do not know," Zara said. "It was only for a second, but it was there." Him chirped from her shoulder and nuzzled against her cheek. "Maybe," Zara continued. "The neural collar did not destroy the connection completely. Maybe it just buried it deep, and the right conditions can bring it back." What kind of conditions? Zara thought about this. Strong emotion, purpose, the feeling that what I am doing matters. Jake sat down next to her. "Today mattered. You helped 30 families get through the worst day of their lives." "Yes," Zara said, and her crystal skin glowed brighter. "It felt good to help people again, to use my abilities for their original purpose." "Which was?" "Healing," Zara said simply. "Not just bodies, but hearts and minds and spirits, helping people remember that they are not alone." That night, Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about what he had seen on the New Hope. Zara had not just helped those people, she had transformed them, turned their fear into hope, their panic into peace. He realized something important. When he had bought Zara from the slave market, he had thought he was saving her. But maybe it was more complicated than that. Maybe they were saving each other. Maybe that was what made humans special in this galaxy. Not that they were stronger or smarter than other species, but that they understood something simple and powerful. When you help someone else, you help yourself too. In her room, Zara was lying awake as well. Him was curled up on her pillow, singing very softly. And for the first time in 3 years, Zara could almost hear the song in her mind as well as her ears. The connection was still weak, still damaged. But it was there. She was healing, not just her body, but her spirit. And she was remembering who she had been before the slavers took her. She was remembering how to hope. Outside the ship, the stars shone brightly against the dark of space. And somewhere in that darkness, other people needed help. Other broken souls were waiting for someone to show them kindness. Zara smiled as she drifted off to sleep. Tomorrow she would continue her research. She would help Jake's crew with their work. And maybe, if they were lucky, they would find more opportunities to help others. The galaxy was a big, cold place. But it felt a little warmer when people took care of each other. And Zara was finally remembering how good it felt to take care of people. 1 month after the rescue of the New Hope, everything changed again. Jake was on the bridge when Amy called out from the communication station. "Captain, We are getting a message from Velthari Space. It is marked as urgent. Jake looked surprised. Velthari Space? That is Zara's people. Put it through. The screen flickered and the image of an elegant alien appeared. She looked similar to Zara, with crystal skin that sparkled with health. But where Zara's skin was blue, this alien's was silver and gold. Greetings, human vessel, the alien said. I am Ambassador Kethalira of the Velthari Council. We have reason to believe you may have one of our people aboard your ship. Jake glanced at Pete, who shrugged. They had not told anyone that Zara was with them. What makes you think that? Jake asked carefully. 3 days ago, our deep space sensors detected a Velthari healing song. It was faint but unmistakable. The source was traced to your ship's location during the rescue of the human transport New Hope. Jake felt his heart beat faster. A healing song? Yes. We thought all our healers in this sector were dead or enslaved. But the song we detected was pure and strong. Someone with great skill was singing to calm frightened people. Jake made a decision. Zara, please come to the bridge. A few minutes later, Zara arrived. She was carrying him and looked curious about why she had been called. When she saw the alien on the screen, she stopped walking. The ambassador's eyes went wide. Blessed stars, she whispered. Zara? Zara Nethlian? Is that really you? Zara's hand went to her throat. Kethalira. But how? I thought you were dead. The research station. I escaped. Kethalira said, tears flowing down her face in tiny crystals. When the slavers attacked, I was off-world at a conference. I have been searching for survivors ever since. How many? Zara asked quietly. Not many, Kethalira admitted sadly. Maybe 200 of our people are still free. The rest are scattered across the galaxy as slaves or... She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Your research, Zara said urgently. Did any of it survive? Some. We managed to save about half of the healing song database. But without you and the other master healers, we cannot complete the work. Zara looked at the floor. I am not a master healer anymore. The neural collar damaged my telepathic abilities. I can barely connect with him. But you sang to those humans, Kethalira said. Our sensors detected a perfect healing frequency. That is not something a damaged healer could do. I found a different way, Zara said slowly. The humans taught me to read emotions without telepathy, and I learned to harmonize with him using my voice instead of my mind. Kethalira looked amazed. That should be impossible. The healing. Songs require perfect telepathic synchronization. Maybe for our people, Zara said. But humans are different. They have a natural understanding of emotions that does not require telepathy. They taught me to see what they see. Jake had been listening quietly, but now he spoke up. Ambassador Kethalira, what are you asking? I am asking Zara to come home, she said. Our people are trying to rebuild. We need every healer we can find. Zara looked at Jake, then at Pete and Amy and Lisa. These humans had saved her, healed. Her given her a new purpose. They were her family now. She started, then stopped. Take some time to think about it, Jake said gently. This is a big decision. Kethalira nodded. Of course, I will send you the coordinates of our new settlement. Contact us when you are ready. The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. You should go, Jake said finally. Zara looked at him with surprise. What? Your people need you. You could help rebuild your entire civilization. But what about our research here? What about the crew? Jake smiled sadly. Zara, when I bought you from that slave market, I promised to give you freedom. Real freedom means you get to choose your own path, even if that path leads away from us. Zara started crying crystal tears. I do not want to leave you. You are my family. And you will always be part of our family, Pete said. But Jake is Right, this is bigger than us, Amy nodded. Your people need healing, and you are probably the only healer who has learned to work with humans. Wait, Zara said suddenly. What if there was another way? What do you mean? Lisa asked. Zara's eyes were bright with excitement. What if I did not have to choose? What if we could help my people and continue our work together? Jake looked confused. I do not understand. The slave trade, Zara said. It is still happening. Right now, thousands of my people and others are being bought and sold across the galaxy. What if we could stop it? Stop the slave trade? Pete said. Zara, that is huge. We are just one small ship. But we know how it works now, Zara said. We know where the markets are, how the slavers operate, and we have something they do not expect. Which is? Compassion, Zara said simply. The slavers think of their victims as things to be used, but we see them as people to be saved. Jake felt his heart racing. You are talking about becoming slave hunters. Yes, Zara said. We could free the enslaved people and help them heal. Use the healing songs to restore their spirits. Give them the same choice you gave me. Amy looked worried. That would be incredibly dangerous. The slavers have weapons, ships, private armies. So do we, Jake said quietly. We have something better than weapons. We have purpose. Pete grinned. I have always wanted to be a hero instead of just a traitor. Lisa nodded enthusiastically. The medical challenge alone would be worth it, helping heal trauma on that scale. Jake contacted Kethalira again. When the ambassador appeared on screen, Zara presented her plan. You want to hunt slavers? Kethalira said with amazement. Not just hunt them, Zara said. Shut them down completely. Free their victims and help them heal. Build a network of people dedicated to ending slavery in this part of the galaxy. That would require ships, weapons, funding, the Velthari. Council could provide those things, Jake said, in exchange for helping to train new healers who can work with different species. Kethalira was quiet for a long time, thinking. It has never been done before. Velthari working with humans on such a scale. Maybe it is time to try something new, Zara said. 3 weeks later, the Star Runner approached Velthari space. But now it was not alone. 5 other ships flew with it, a small fleet provided by the Velthari Council. The ships were filled with volunteers, humans who wanted to help fight slavery. Velthari healers eager to learn new techniques, even some former slaves who had been freed and wanted to help others. Jake stood on the bridge of the Star Runner, now designated as the flagship of their small fleet. Zara stood beside him, her crystal skin glowing bright blue with health and purpose. There, Amy said, pointing at her scanner. Kethvar Station, the same place where we first met. Jake nodded. Time to return the favor. They had been planning this mission for weeks. Intelligence reports said there were over 100 slaves being held on the station. The operation would be dangerous, but they were ready. All ships, this is Jake Morrison, he said into the communications system. Remember, our goal is to free the slaves and minimize violence. We are healers and liberators, not conquerors. Understood, Captain Morrison, came the replies from the other ships. As they approached the station, Jake felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Zara. Are you ready for this? She asked. Jake thought about the day he had first walked through that slave market. He remembered the broken woman chained to a post, protecting a small injured creature with her own body. Now that woman stood beside him as an equal, leading a mission to free hundreds of others from the same fate. I am ready, he said. The operation began. It was not easy. The slavers fought back with weapons and threats. But Jake's people were prepared. They had trained for this moment. More importantly, they had something the slavers did not understand. They were fighting for more than money or power. They were fighting for the simple idea that every person, no matter what species, deserved to be free. When it was over, 93 slaves had been freed. The station's slave market was destroyed. The slavers were captured and turned over to authorities. But the real victory came later, in the medical bay of one of their ships. Jake watched as Zara worked with a young alien who had been enslaved for years. She sang softly while Him provided musical accompaniment. The young alien was scared and broken, just like Zara had been. But as the healing song filled the air, something changed in his expression. Hope returned to his eyes. "What happens to him now?" Jake asked. "The same thing that happened to me," Zara said with a smile. "He gets to choose his own future." Pete joined them, grinning widely. "Captain, we just got word from our intelligence network. 3 more slave markets have been identified. The crews are asking for our next target." Jake looked at Zara. "What do you think?" "I think," Zara said, "that we have a lot of work to do." Outside the ship, the stars shone in the darkness of space. But that darkness felt less cold now. In the galaxy's vast emptiness, small lights of hope were beginning to shine. Every freed slave was a light. Every healed trauma was a light. Every act of compassion was a light. And at the center of it all was the simple truth that Jake had discovered. In that terrible slave market, when you save someone else, you save a part of yourself too. The Star Runner and its fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading toward their next mission. In the cargo holds, former slaves were learning what